The valedictorian address will be presented by Jonathan Fuller, who is receiving Bachelor of Business Administration degrees in finance and real estate.
Three nights ago, I was walking around, celebrating at the Hard Rock Hotel. It was our grad night, and it was a big party. What amazed me was that every time I moved 5 feet, I ran into someone I knew, and not just an acquaintance, but a friend. Despite being a large venue, the ballroom area felt small and personal because I was among countless friends celebrating graduation, maybe a bit too early. And that experience gave me the theme for these remarks: the relationships I developed at USD. Relationships we've all developed, each in our own ways, and the importance of those relationships in shaping our futures. I've been thinking back about the high school student I was when I applied to and was accepted by USD. I didn't really know what to expect of the next 4 years here, but I do remember touring campus with my family and seeing USD students running around, seemingly frantically, from classroom to classroom. I was pretty sure it wouldn't be easy, but hoped at least I could share my anxiety with my new friends, a thought that helped calm my nerves. Looking back on that tour around campus 4 short years ago, it seems surreal that I have bonded with so many people, the kinds of young men and women who I know my parents were hoping would become my friends. Well, Mom and Dad, it worked. When I was given the honor of speaking here today, it was tough to sort out some of the highlights that make the USD experience so unique and wonderful, and that I hope would resonate with my classmates in particular. My greatest takeaway from USD sounds simple, and yet it is complex. It is the incredible range of relationships I've been lucky enough to build. We've all endured bumps along the way. Maybe it was leaving family, or paying our way through school by working 20-hour weeks. Fresh on my mind is also the misery of final exams. And worse yet, getting a citation from parking services the last week of school when trying to cram for this valedictorian speech. What got all of us through these bumps in the road were our friends, professors, industry mentors, and career counselors who cared about us, who guided us, who gave us a nudge or a shove when we needed it. In the end, we turned out pretty well, don't you think? One of the very first relationships that mattered to me came the moment we were assigned to what were called preceptorial groups. These are small, family-like communities designed to help freshmen with their transition into college life. It wasn't comfortable to find myself sitting in a room with 15 strangers, especially because I was assigned to a group oriented to psychology, even though my expressed interest was in business. I'm sure my younger brother thought I was in the right place. He's always thought I needed a shrink. But for me, it made me question what I was doing there. In all honesty, however, the preceptorial group marked the beginning of a series of support systems I was able to draw upon throughout the last 4 years. And as you might imagine, after our group enjoyed a few events and activities together, friendships formed, anxieties diminished, and we were off and running. I did end up in the business school, as you probably realized by now, or I hope you realized by now, not in psychology, and picking a major became my next big challenge. Fortunately, my older and wiser friends told me that taking classes from legendary professors, Dan Rivetti, and Tom Copeland, was a rite of passage I could not afford to miss. So I became a finance major and still love the field. But then I took a couple of classes from Professor John Demas, who turned me on to real estate. And since I added the second major, my friends and I have decided to dance somewhere between derivatives and development. USD recognizes that students can't possibly limit their learning to textbooks, which is why the quality of our professors is so high and why they are so accessible to students. It was surprising to me, in a good way, that PhDs gave such personalized attention to undergraduate students. My classes typically range from 15 to 30 students, taught by professors who were also practicing real estate law, running hedge funds, and being involved in building the world's tallest building. They are leaders in their fields, no doubt, movers and shakers who forever changed my view of the US economy in the context of a global business community. Moreover, in classes and everywhere on campus, my views, all of our views, were being shaped and reshaped by our classmates, young men and women who brought their cultures, principles, and ideas from places like Kuwait, Russia, and the United Arab Emirates. Looking at America and at the globe through their perspectives opened my eyes in ways I never could have imagined. And in looking outside the classroom, anyone wanting to get involved at USD faced difficult choices because the menu of options was so extensive. Part of growing up is learning to make life choices, of course, but again, it was helpful to gain the advice of trusted advisors, friends, professors, and older students, and basically relying upon the networks that we had developed without necessarily being conscious of doing so. We joined fraternities or sororities, professional groups like the Real Estate Society, got connected with mentors who began providing career advice, took on internships, and if we were lucky, were selected to participate as members of student teams in intercollegiate case competitions. One such extraordinary adventure was the International Development Competition held at USC. On Monday, our team of 6 students was given the case: develop a huge piece of land in the middle of downtown Los Angeles. Drive to USC on Thursday and turn in your results, and give a public presentation on Friday morning. For 3 nights, we literally camped out in a classroom, pulling all-nighters, surviving on pizza and Coke, and also bonding as a team in ways that few challenges could cause to happen. I'll mention a second competition briefly because it was also so memorable. The professional trade group called NAOP sponsors a development competition focusing on a real piece of property here locally in San Diego. The charge is to determine its highest and best use, present arguments supporting your recommendations, and then defend them before a panel of industry judges who don't pull any punches. After presenting to the judges one night, the next morning we made a public presentation before about 250 real estate executives. We did not win the competition, I hate to say, but that's not the same as saying that we're losers either. We had a great team, grew close to one another, and learned more than we could ever have dreamed of. It was a journey, and it was the journey as a team that mattered the most. In the business school, there's a great deal of emphasis, as you all know, on internships. I remember vividly walking into my first interview for an internship with my clammy hands and being scared to death. It was a development firm, and of course, I knew nothing about development at the time. Luckily, they took a chance on me, partly based on their prior good experiences with other USD students. And as my interest in real estate grew, so did the number of internships I pursued. Over the course of applying for and holding internships numbered 2, 3, 4, and 5, I not only overcame my nervousness about applying for jobs, but also gained knowledge and confidence that reinforced my classroom learning. Unfortunately, though, I must report that the clammy hand situation is not completely under control yet. As we all know, times have definitely changed in applying for jobs. Ironically, the entry-level positions we all apply for require a ton of experience. After 5 internships, I may be one of the most experienced job applicants to apply for an entry-level position. I guess the situation perfectly illustrates a quote I once heard attributed to Bill Gates. That is, life isn't fair, get used to it. That quote also seems to apply to that parking ticket I mentioned earlier. Pulling these thoughts together, especially from my classmates, it's important for us to recognize that while USD was shaping us by our actions and involvement, We were shaping the university. One good lesson I learned is that every relationship is transformational for both parties, and every action we take changes the people and places we've touched along the way. As graduates of USD, we need to think carefully where we want to take our world, because the power collectively is in our hands. We are ending the first leg of a journey, moving toward a future of careers and family formations. But unlike those first few days on campus, we will never feel or be alone again. Look at our support system, Toreros. We are the class of 2014, the one and only USD class of 2014. The friendships and relationships forged by blood, sweat, and tears of joy at USD will serve us well forever. Starting tomorrow, our journey continues. But for the rest of today, let's kick back and enjoy the moment. Thank you.